everybody, and good Tuesday evening to you. It is Weather for Weather Geeks time. We have rain and wind coming our way as we get set to close out the month of October. The sunny weather that we've had over the last couple of days, it's not going to be around for much longer. And it's a rare treat once we get into late fall and into the winter, certainly, for us to have a perfectly sunny sky. The cloud cover percentages go way up late in October and into November, climatologically speaking, but we've reeled off several sunnier than average months in a row, going back to the start of meteorological summer. Every month since then has been sunnier than the average, so it's been a pretty nice looking stretch of weather. Now, of course, we got a little too dry in most of the region towards the end of the summer and early in the fall season, but we've had a good amount of nature's vitamin D. Hopefully, again, we've taken some advantage of that because these kinds of days become pretty rare as we go into the winter season. We're one of the cloudiest places in the lower 48 from November through April. We can partly or mostly thank our proximity to the Great Lakes for that. Temperatures today ran a little bit cooler than yesterday, as expected. It was a little bit warmer at the start of the day. It didn't get quite as cold last night, but then the afternoon temperatures today made it into the mid-50s as opposed to the upper 50s. Still just a beautiful afternoon. It was a little bit breezy as expected today. You noticed that breeze if you were out and about for any appreciable amounts of time earlier on today. So I mentioned the cloud cover. That has been one thing that we'll be talking about more and more as we go into November and beyond. Let's focus on the tropics here because this was the big global weather story. This made landfall earlier today. Of course, Hurricane Melissa as a Category 5 hurricane in western parts of Jamaica. This is the island of Jamaica right here. Just incredible satellite imagery. It's one of those situations, and we run into this a lot in the field of meteorology. It is beautiful. And it's eye candy, and you just want to stare at it. It's amazing, but you have to remember that underneath all these vivid animations and beautiful colors and just historic presentation to things on the satellite picture, that underneath all that there's human beings, there's people, and no doubt the devastation is tremendous on the island of Jamaica as a result of Melissa making landfall. Now, the last couple of frames of our animation here, the center of circulation has re-emerged over the water. It's now north of Jamaica, and so there may be some strengthening, or at least a maintaining of its current strength as it bears down on the eastern tip of Cuba. Then Melissa will continue moving up through the Bahamas and probably swipes past Bermuda on its way finally out into the open Atlantic. And I wanted to show you the visible satellite view from earlier today because this was just stunning stuff. These satellite presentations that look like this are a little more common with typhoons out in the western Pacific. It's rare for us to see something this strong and this, frankly, just beautiful, again, with a landfalling tropical system in this part of the world. And so we had that stadium effect to the satellite imagery earlier on today. You saw mesovortices rotating through the eye wall earlier on as this made landfall, and it did not weaken at all upon its approach to Jamaica. And we've seen that, of course, with a great deal of frequency, unfortunately, not only in the Caribbean, but in the U.S., the mainland U.S. We've had systems strengthening upon landfall. It's kind of the last thing you want to see. And thanks to meteorologist Gavin Sandell for looking back at the record books today and compiling some statistics. The 892 millibar pressure upon landfall, the strongest, or a tie for the strongest, on record in the Atlantic Basin, tying the Labor Day hurricane of 1935. That was before they got names, so they oftentimes were named after the holiday that they were nearest or something like that. Labor Day 1935, 892 millibars. More recently, Gilbert back in 1988 in the Gulf of Mexico. Camille in 1969, which ravaged parts of the Gulf Coast in the Deep South. And most recently, Dorian back in 2019 was at 910 millibars. And Dorian, its wind field was pretty impressive for that pressure. The wind field with Dorian estimated to be about the same as with Melissa, even though Melissa's pressure was lower today. The wind field was about the same in Dorian back in 2019. You see that Labor Day 1935 on this list as far as the strongest landfalling hurricanes go by wind speed and wind gusts. I want to encourage everyone to check out meteorologist Gavin Sandell's video today that he did. You'll find it in the Weather 101 section at WFMJ.com. Find him on social media. I shared it on my Facebook and Twitter as well. Gavin does some great content for us most weekdays. And today he focused on kind of why this system became what it became as it approached the island of Jamaica. Back here at home, things are quiet. They're going to stay that way overnight, but we do have some interesting things to talk about soon. Sunshine will be replaced by clouds on Wednesday, and I think towards the end of the afternoon, and especially right around and just after sunset, showers will become increasingly likely. It's going to rain most of Wednesday night. The wind will howl. It'll be a noisy night. Can't even rule out a stray rumble of thunder. Now, it's interesting, I remarked last evening that the track of this low would be very favorable for us to get into heavy snow if this were a winter storm. Now, the track has, over the last 24 hours, evolved to, bring this low pressure system just close enough that we get into a dry slot, it looks like, by Thursday midday. Again, if this were a winter storm and we got into this dry slot right here, winter weather lovers would not be happy, and this would present all sorts of forecasting challenges in terms of snowfall accumulations, but well, we're not there just yet. This is all rain, but we are going to get into a dry slot, I think, for a lot of the midday, early afternoon on Thursday. That'll be the best part of the day. The wind won't be especially strong at that point either, because we'll be kind of close to the center of that area of low pressure. But then the low starts shifting out to the east. The rain wraps back in. Again, a rumble of thunder possibility late in the day on Thursday. Showers will stick around for parts of Thursday night as well. A lot of these gone by daybreak on Friday, but by Friday afternoon there might be a passing renegade shower. Bigger story for trick-or-treaters will be the wind and the chill. Models are in pretty good agreement at this point that we're going to see upwards of 1.5 inches worth of rain out of this system, with the bulk of that falling from about 7 or 8 p.m. on Wednesday through 3 or 4 in the morning on Friday. Again, probably a break for a handful of hours around midday on Thursday. But Friday, of course, is Halloween, and looking back at the record books, we won't make this list this year. It won't be the warmest, it won't be the coldest, it won't be the rainiest, and it certainly won't be the snowiest. A lot of us around here remember Halloween of 1993 as easily the snowiest Halloween on record for our area. Most recently, we had a very soggy Halloween back in 2019 at 1.48. This year, we're going to miss that sort of rain event by a day or so, with about 1.5 inches worth of rain coming our way, but Wednesday night into Thursday night, Halloween itself on Friday will not be as wet. But it is going to be blustery, and it is going to be chilly. And speaking of chilly weather, we're coming up on the annual winter forecast. It's 2 weeks from today on November the 11th, which is a Tuesday. I've been talking about this occasionally on Weather for Weather Geeks in case you've missed those videos recently, and in case you're kind of new to my content on the way I do this. My annual winter forecast, we kind of try to please everyone. We do a short, to-the-point version on TV where I'm restricted by time. That's usually 2.5 or 3 minutes. The Weather Geeks version, if you will, kind of like this video, it can be pretty long. It'll be much longer than a typical Weather for Weather Geeks video. Really in-depth, going into a lot of the why the forecast is what it is. If your business depends on accurate winter forecasts and detailed winter forecasts, that'll be the video you want to check out for sure on November the 11th. Now, the last few winters, we've had our challenges when it comes to the forecast. I graded my forecast from last year. How did we do? And, it was kind of a mixed bag. In terms of temperatures, we didn't do very well. We expected a warmer than average winter, at least initially, but it turned out to be colder than average for the first time in about 10 years. Now, we did get the snow forecast pretty much right on the money. We called for a below average year in terms of snowfall, and even though it was a cold winter, it was not a particularly snowy winter at all. We did an update in early December, and we did move in the right direction. About a month after that initial forecast, we did make the forecast a colder one for the winter season. We just weren't aggressive enough, but we did at least sniff out the trends in early December, and it occurred to me that, hey, we need to kind of bail on this pretty warm forecast we have for last winter. So we're hoping to do better from the get-go this winter and not have to make a big update in early December. So stay tuned. 2 weeks from tonight on November the 11th, it's my annual winter forecast. Thanks for watching this video on this Tuesday evening. I'll see you back here on Wednesday.